You bring restoration. You bring restoration to my soul.
Katie Walker is the founder of Northern Kentucky Right to Life, the former Communications Director of American Life League, and current Communications Director of Catholic Charities. Not too long ago, Katie was like most of us. She felt pro-life, she wanted abortion to end, but she didn't know what to do about it. Then she started doing something, and I'm going to let her explain how that happened. Katie Walker.
Yeah, Katie!
Thank you, Jake, and thank you all. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. It is an honor to be out here among all of you teen defenders. It's an honor to be here in Washington, D.C. It's an honor to be on this mall. So thank you for having me today. A week ago, we celebrated Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This nation, across this nation and all over this mall, we were filled with people, and we spoke about justice and equality for all. The question that we need to be asking now, though, is Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream fulfilled? Are all human beings recognized and protected under law? Are all of them recognized as equal? Has injustice truly been eradicated? I think we all know the answer, and the civil rights movement is far, far from over, and you are the civil rights movement, we are the civil rights movement, and that's the message we have to take back to our schools. For 36 years now, beginning almost the same time our history books will tell us that the civil rights movement was winding down, the most vulnerable in our society have been legally and systematically butchered, legally burned, legally dismembered, and legally thrown into trash cans and hauled away to mass graves. Troy talked about the story out of Philadelphia that came out of Kermit Gosnell and his abortion house of horrors. And that really shocked the nation, and it shocked all but the most hard-hearted among us. But what we need to speak to the world is that what he did in Philadelphia is no different than what's happening in every abortion mill across the country.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yes.
He might have been a little bit more blatant about it. Maybe he was a little more honest with himself about what he was doing. But what happened in Philadelphia is happening every day. It's happening right now. It's happening at the 16th Street Planned Parenthood that I'm at every week, and so many of you are too. And it's happening in everyone, and we need to make sure that people know that. It's caught the attention of the nation, but I hope that that's a message that goes far and wide. If a society is going to be judged by how it treats the least among us, ours is failing miserably, and ours has to be the generation that turns that around.
Amen.
Like you, I come from a generation that has been twice targeted by the culture of death. Once in the womb when they came for our lives. A third of us didn't make it. As Troy said, this city would be filled to capacity and overflowing with all of our peers who aren't with us today. And now a second time they've come back for us, the survivors. And this time they have literally come for our souls. We're walking targets, and we have taken bullets from every angle, from the schools, from the entertainment industry, from the movie, the papers, by a relativist and over-sexualized culture that has permeated almost every aspect of my life, and I'm sure yours too. This isn't just about abortion. They weren't satisfied with just that unspeakable atrocity. Abortion is one of the many hydra heads of this culture of death that every day finds new ways to attack our lives and to attack our families. Euthanasia, embryonic stem cell research, contraception, assisted suicide, and a laughable attempt to redefine marriage until our society resembles that. I always like to compare it to the Nothing in the Never-Ending Story. How many of you saw that when you were little? It's one of my favorite movies. But I was scared to death by the Nothing, and that's what's happening today. The longer I'm in this fight, like you, I'm still pretty young, I'm only 24, the more I realize that the antidote to this very sick culture that we're living in is very simply truth. And truth is a person. Truth has a human face and a human name. Truth himself was a one-celled human being, snuggled close and safe in the womb of his immaculate human mother. Is it any wonder that the Nothing, that the evil, that the devil targets 1- and 2-celled human beings, preborn babies, because he was crushed by one of them? Jake asked me, and he spoke a little bit about it, to talk to you about my high school and college activism. He recognized, like I know that all of you recognize, that all revolutions happen on high school and college campuses. that this battle will be won or lost in your schools. And you can bet that Pro Awards recognize that that's where the fight's at too. They are targeting you specifically for a reason. They're pumping millions and millions of dollars every year into high schools and colleges, and it's up to you to stand against this. If we're going to win back the culture, if we're going to end this genocide, we have to be willing, as abortion survivor Gianna Justin so eloquently puts it, we have to be willing to valiantly and courageously stand up and speak the truth in love, and at least be willing to be hated. And you will sometimes be hated because you are directly fighting the greatest moral evil of our day. This point was driven home for me in college, a month after I founded Northern Right to Life, our campus group at Northern Kentucky University. For our very first project, we were going to do a very simple Cemetery of the Innocents display. I'm sure most of you have seen it. Hundreds of little crosses meant to represent all of the children killed by abortion. It's meant to look like Arlington National Cemetery. It's a pretty peaceful and quiet display. 2 days after we put it up, I was working at my part-time job and I got a call on the phone from one of the members of our club her voice was shaking. She was so distraught. She said, "Katie, something's happened. Our display's totally been vandalized and wrecked. There are crosses all over campus, in the lake, in trash cans everywhere. I don't know what's going on." So I rushed back to the school, and sure enough, I saw the destruction. And we were devastated. We spent the night and the next few nights camping out after we tried to resurrect what was left of our display to make sure nothing else happened. The day after, I got a call from a reporter at the Cincinnati Enquirer who had heard what had happened, and she had done a little digging, and she found out that the person who destroyed and vandalized our display, which is a felony in Kentucky law, was actually a professor. She was a tenured professor who led not only her, but she led her graduate studies women's class out onto the campus commons, and she said that if it was our free speech right to put that display up, that it was her free speech right to tear it down and to incite all of her students to commit a felony. So despite, we were devastated. This is one of our professors. It's a small campus. It's a tight-knit community. And it's amazing how God works. But somehow the media found out, and we were on national news. Fox News was covering it, the Laura Ingraham Show. Our campus was swarmed with reporters. And God is so good. He took what seemed like a really devastating time for us, and He turned it into this wonderful opportunity to speak the truth in love as best that we could. So that's one example of something that I did in college, and I'd love to talk to you more about some other things that we've done, but I'm sure you're doing amazing things on your schools as well. In your pro-life work, you will be hated, but God will also bless you for the sacrifices and the work, and He will bring good beyond your imagining out of what you're doing. Today we're going to march with over 500,000 people, hopefully, 500,000. But tomorrow we have to go home, and sometimes it can feel very lonely. But we have to see and take back what we're seeing today and put this passion into action. It can't end here and now. As we go back from this place, as we go back to our lives, we must push on in our cause with the courage and the conviction that we have been placed by God in this city and in this nation and in this moment for a very specific purpose. And we are going to be held accountable for that one day. This is the generation that God has chosen to end the injustice and the atrocity of abortion. I want to see you out there today. Yes. Amen. I want to see you out there today marching. And I want to see you out there tomorrow in your schools and on the streets like the very first apostles, changing hearts one by one. That's where all change has to happen before it's too late, before they get to Planned Parenthood. I want to challenge you in front of the Washington Monument behind us to demand nothing less than true justice for all human beings, and to demand it now. Personhood for all is our goal. President Ronald Reagan once asked, "How can we survive as a free nation when some decide that others are not fit to live and should be done away with?" On that same day, in that same speech, he called for a constitutional amendment to restore that right on which all others stand. That is our goal, and we will settle for nothing less, and it will be done in this generation.
Yes.
So with that, thank you, carry on today, and God bless you all.